What if I told you that the biggest trades you'll ever make aren't on a chart? They happen inside your head before the market even opens. Because it's not the market that destroys most traders, it's their words. The silent vocabulary echoing inside their minds when things go wrong. One trader says, I'm done, I'm broke. Another says, this is data, I'll rebuild. Same loss, two completely different futures. Today, we decode the hidden language behind your trading results, the unconscious words that hijack your decisions, fuel your fear, and quietly sabotage your strategy. And more importantly, we'll show you how to take back control. This isn't about motivation, it's about mental reprogramming. Because when you change your language, you change your brain. And when you change your brain, you change your trading forever. I want to take you back to a single moment, one that changed everything. March 2020. The world's on fire. Markets are crashing. Panic spreads faster than the virus itself. And at 3:12 a.m., my phone lights up. It's David. He's sobbing. I'm done, he whispers. Account's gone. Everything's gone. I blew it. 2 hours later, I get another message from Marcus. Same day, same loss, same $50,000 gut punch from the market. His text? Rough day, fresh data, time to rebuild. Let that sink in. Two traders, same strategy, same broker, same loss, but completely different reactions. David spiraled. Revenge trades, desperate entries, emotional chaos. Today, he drives Uber part-time and still posts angry rants in trading forums. Marcus, he rebuilt, refined his system, and now runs a $10 million fund. So what made the difference? Was it luck, experience, connections? Maybe those played a part, but I've seen this story repeat too many times. The real difference, the deciding factor, was the words they used when it all fell apart. David kept saying, I'm broke, I'm ruined, it's over. Every word oozed finality, as if the loss had rewritten his identity. Marcus said something radically different. I'm at 0 point, reset, fresh data. His language framed the loss not as a failure, but as a beginning. Think about that. Same reality, two different meanings assigned to it. And those meanings didn't just reflect their mindset, they created it. Because language isn't just communication, it's programming. The words you speak, especially the ones you speak silently in your own head, are like software commands. They activate patterns, emotional responses, cognitive filters. David's words activated fear, scarcity, shame. His brain moved into fight or flight mode. The logic center dimmed. Impulse took over. Marcus's words activated curiosity, ownership, strategic reset. His brain stayed online. The logic center lit up. He stayed in the game. And here's the terrifying part. Most traders have no idea this is happening. They think they're trading charts, but they're actually trading narratives. They're not reading setups. They're reading their own internal scripts. And most of those scripts were never written on purpose. They're leftovers from childhood, from fear, from past mistakes. You know the voice I'm talking about. You always mess this up. Why'd you take that stupid trade? Get even. Just one more. Each sentence digs the hole deeper. Each phrase blinds you to the very setups that once made you confident. Science backs this up. Studies show your brain begins processing trades before you consciously see the chart. And what guides that preconscious processing? Your language. Words like scary, hope, maybe. They activate your amygdala, the brain's fear center. That shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, planning, execution. In other words, the moment you call the setup scary, your brain literally stops seeing the opportunity. You see risk where others see edge. The opposite is true too. If you've trained your brain to say this matches my edge or this setup fits my system, you don't just see clearly, you act decisively. Calm, focused, controlled. And this isn't just theory. I've lived it. I've watched it. I've read over 1,000 trading journals, and I can now predict with alarming accuracy who's going to blow up their account and who's going to quietly, patiently, and consistently grow it. And I don't need to see their strategy. I just need to see how they talk to themselves when they lose. Traders who say things like, I'm so stupid. Why does this always happen to me? It's rigged. This market's out to get me. Those traders don't need better indicators. They need better vocabulary because your language is the lens through which you see the market. Change the lens, you change everything. So let me ask you something personal. What do you say when you lose? Do you say, I blew it, I suck, I should quit? Or do you say, system breakdown, Let's extract the lesson. Time to adjust. It may sound small, but that tiny shift might be the only thing separating chaos from clarity. From David to Marcus, from your worst trading day to your comeback story. You see, this chapter isn't about mindset in a vague motivational sense. It's about something far more powerful, the actual software running your brain during high pressure moments. If you don't take control of that language, it will control you. You'll find yourself revenge trading, chasing losses, ignoring your rules, and calling it instinct. But it's not instinct. It's programming. Bad programming, old code, corrupted files. And the good news? You can rewrite it right now with intention, with discipline, and with words designed to keep you grounded, not panicked. So here's your mission. Start listening to your internal dialogue, not just what you say, but how you say it. Notice the difference between I blew it and the system failed this time, between I suck at this and that's data I can use. Because over time, those subtle changes compound, just like interest. One better phrase becomes one better decision. One better decision becomes one saved trade, and one saved trade becomes momentum. The kind of momentum that turns a broken trader into a consistently profitable one, like David and Marcus. Same loss, different language, different fate. Your trading results don't start with your broker or your charts or your indicators. They start with a single thought, a single word. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you're staring at a red candle, when the trade goes against you, when your hand's hovering over the mouse ready to fight back or shut it all down, ask yourself, am I thinking like David or Marcus? Am I stuck at zero dough or ready to reset at 0 point? Because that answer, that one moment of awareness, might just be the beginning of everything changing. We all talk to ourselves. Sometimes it's out loud, muttering after a bad trade. Sometimes it's silent, a voice in the back of your mind whispering just before you hit buy. But here's what most traders never realize. That voice might be the reason you're losing. Not the market, not your strategy, not even your risk management. The actual words you use in your journal, in your head, in the heat of the moment, they are shaping your trades before you even know it. Let me show you how dangerous this really is. I once mentored two traders for a full year. Let's call them Sarah and Jordan. Same age, same trading style, similar backgrounds, but wildly different results. Sarah would journal things like revenge trade after that stupid loss, hope this works, I need it, YOLO, full send. You could literally watch the words infecting her thinking, each phrase a red flag, each sentence a symptom of deeper emotional chaos. And guess what? Her results followed the language. Day 1 plus $500. Day 5, 9 is $800. Day 10, $1,200. Day 15, $5,000. Month 2, burnout, panic attacks, account in free fall. Meanwhile, Jordan's journal was boring, almost robotic. Setup met criteria, executed as planned. Small loss, system functioning. Trade rejected, no emotional reaction. And his results? Steady, disciplined, slowly compounding. What made the difference? The words. Because here's what I've learned after studying hundreds of traders. Certain words are like computer viruses for your brain. They hijack your system, corrupt your logic, and turn you into a gambler when you thought you were a professional. Dr. Brett Steenbarger calls them virus words, phrases that trigger emotional states incompatible with rational decision making. You probably know some of them already. Let's go through a few. Hope. The market doesn't care what you hope. Revenge, that's not a strategy, that's emotional reactivity. YOLO, translation, I've given up thinking. Get even, a sure sign you're trading the past, not the present. Stupid about yourself, that's not feedback, that's identity aiming. Always or never. Cognitive distortions, there's no such thing in markets. Each of these words may seem harmless, casual, even common, but make no mistake, they carry emotional payloads. They activate the wrong parts of your brain, the primitive parts, the parts that evolved to flee tigers, not manage risk. And once those circuits light up, it's game over. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical, rule-following part, goes offline. And now you're driving blind, hands on the wheel, eyes full of panic. You're not trading anymore. You're surviving, reacting, flailing. That's how accounts get destroyed. Let me show you how subtle but deadly this can be. A trader sees a clean setup, but he writes in his notes, looks kind of scary. Maybe it'll work. Boom. Two toxic words in one sentence, scary and maybe. What just happened neurologically? Scary activates the amygdala, your brain's fear center. Maybe triggers uncertainty, a lack of confidence in your edge. Now your brain is in conflict. You hesitate. You second guess. You miss the opportunity, not because it wasn't valid, but because your words convinced you it wasn't. Meanwhile, a disciplined trader sees the same chart. He writes, matches criteria, entry triggered, managing risk. His brain stays calm, focused, aligned with the system. Same chart, different words, different outcome. So let me ask you, what's the last sentence you said to yourself before placing a trade? Was it something like, hope this works, let's go big this time, time to get it all back? If so, I hate to break it to you. You were trading with malware in your mind. Your internal dialogue doesn't just reflect your mindset, it creates it. That's why we don't just talk ourselves into bad trades. We program them, word by word, sentence by sentence. Still don't believe me? Let's go back to the legend, Jesse Livermore. Early in his career, after a big loss, he wrote, I'm broke, wiped out, done. What happened? He spiraled. Emotional trades, impulsive risks, deeper losses. But years later, same situation, big loss, and his language had changed. I must study my mistakes. The market has taught me an expensive lesson. See the difference? One response is identity-based. The other is system-based. One ends the story, the other begins the next chapter. Michael Marcus said it best, I learned not to trade when emotional. He didn't say I'm an emotional trader. That difference in language, it's the difference between trauma and tuition. Because when you say I'm a failure, your brain stops learning. But when you say that was an expensive lesson, your brain starts improving. So here's your challenge. Go back to your last 10 trades. Look at your journal, your notes, or just what you remember thinking. What words came up? Be honest. Did you say scared, deserve a win, get it all back, the market's rigged, I always lose on Fridays? Those words are not harmless. They are symptoms of an infected mindset. And like a virus, they will spread unless you isolate and replace them. Start building awareness today. Create a contamination log. Track every emotional phrase you catch yourself using, then replace them, not with fluffy affirmations, but with operational language. Hope, probability suggests. Revenge, systemic adjustment required. YOLO, setup meets criteria XYZ. Get even, next trade is a new event. Trading isn't just about discipline. It's about linguistic hygiene. You clean your keyboard, you organize your charts, but have you cleaned your internal dialogue? Because if your vocabulary is infected, your strategy doesn't matter. You'll sabotage yourself from the inside out. The market is hard enough. Don't let your words be your worst enemy. By now, you've probably started to notice it. The words in your head aren't just noise. They're instructions, commands. Each one either stabilizes your trading or sets it on fire. And if you've ever found yourself knowing what to do but doing the opposite anyway, welcome to the world of mental malware. See, this chapter isn't just about bad habits or emotional trading. It's about something deeper, more dangerous, and far more common than you think. Virus words. I'm talking about specific phrases that act like Trojans inside your trading brain. They may sound harmless, some even sound motivational, but they erode discipline, hijack logic, and quietly assassinate your edge. Dr. Brett Steenbarger, one of the most respected trading psychologists alive, discovered something remarkable in his work with elite traders. He studied journal entries, voice recordings, and live trading transcripts, and one pattern kept showing up again and again. Traders who used certain words were far more likely to take impulsive, irrational, and unprofitable trades, regardless of strategy. The presence of these words didn't just correlate with bad outcomes, they predicted them. So what are these words? Let's start with the most dangerous of them all, hope. I hope this turns around. I hope we get a bounce. I'm holding because I just hope. Hope is not a plan. Hope is not data. Hope is emotional projection. And when you hope in trading, you're no longer operating in reality, you're operating in fantasy. Next up, revenge. I need to get it back. They can't take my money like that. I'll show the market. This isn't trading. This is ego in panic mode, and ego makes terrible entries. YOLO. Yes, this one made its way into actual trading journals. YOLO into this breakout. Full send. All in. Let's go. Let me be very clear. If YOLO is anywhere in your thought process, you're not a trader. You're a gambler. and the house always wins. Now let's move into the subtler ones, probably and maybe. These two are silent assassins. They reflect uncertainty, not about the market, but about your system. This probably works. Maybe I should enter here. The moment you use those words, your brain stops trusting your edge, and hesitation begins. Let's talk about two mindset poison pills: deserve and owe. I deserve a win after this week. The market owes me something. No, it doesn't. The market doesn't know you. It doesn't love you. It doesn't care. The moment you assign justice to the market, you set yourself up for frustration, overtrading, and overexposure. Then we have the extreme absolutes: always and never. I always lose on Fridays. This setup never works for me. These are cognitive distortions, not facts, and they program your brain to see patterns that don't exist, patterns based on fear, not reality. One of the worst? I'm just unlucky lately. That stop loss hit by a pip, again, you're not unlucky. You're either underprepared, undisciplined, or using flawed setups. Blaming luck is a way to avoid responsibility, and traders who refuse responsibility never improve. Next, we enter paranoia territory. Rigged, manipulated, and they. The market makers are hunting my stops. They're out to get retail. This is rigged. This is victim thinking. And victim thinking creates erratic, defensive trading. The moment you believe you're powerless, you become it. Then comes self-harm in disguise. Stupid, idiot, I suck. You'd never talk to a friend this way, but traders talk to themselves like enemies. Every time you call yourself stupid, you chip away at confidence. And trading without confidence, that's like flying without wings. Here's another subtle killer. Broke, zero dough, I lost everything. This language creates identity-level despair. It's not just about the trade anymore, it becomes who you are. And when you believe you're broken, you'll behave like it. Next, two classics from the Gambler's Handbook. One more try and get even. Just one more trade and I'm done. If I can just make it back. These are emotional Hail Marys. They ignore risk, probability, and logic, and they nearly always end in disaster. Then there's fantasy language. Moon, Lambo, diamond hands. These words come from meme culture, not professional trading. Holding to the moon, diamond hands, baby. What you're actually saying is, I refuse to adapt, I reject logic, I ignore my system. Then comes the sneakiest of all, scared money and house money. The first says, I'm playing not to lose. The second says, it's not really mine. Both are wrong. All money in your account is yours. And if you're scared, it means your position size is wrong, not that the trade is bad. Finally, due for a win. No, you're not. The market doesn't track your losses and hand out sympathy profits. There's no karma in price action. So what now? Screenshot this list, print it, pin it above your screen. Every time you catch yourself saying one of these words, stop, pause, replace. Because here's the truth. These words don't describe your trading. They program it. Every hope weakens your edge. Every revenge fires up emotional circuits. Every maybe erodes your conviction. It's not woo-woo, it's neuroscience. These words change your brain state. They flood your system with cortisol, shut down your logic centers, and blind you to opportunity. You think you're seeing the chart clearly, but your perception is filtered by fear and bias. So the next time you feel the urge to say just one more, ask yourself, is this a trade or a cry for help? Because a single sentence can determine the trade, and a single pattern of sentences can determine your career. In the next chapter, I'll show you exactly how to replace these toxic words with the language that elite traders use to stay calm, clear, and in control, no matter what the market throws at them. It's not magic, it's neurological reprogramming, and it starts with a few simple phrases. By now, you've seen how dangerous words can be. They infect your thinking, hijack your decision-making, and quietly sabotage your results. But here's the good news. If words can destroy, they can also build. If a single toxic phrase can blow up your account, then a single power phrase can save it. And not just save it, optimize it, sharpen it, scale it. Because if there's one thing I've learned from working with consistently profitable traders, the top 5%, it's this. They speak differently, not just to others, to themselves. They have a private language, a set of operating commands, not affirmations, not empty hype, but phrases that anchor them to logic, to discipline, to edge, especially under pressure. Let me give you an example. Linda Rashke, one of the greatest traders alive, had a verbal ritual before every session. She'd whisper to herself, I only take A-plus setups, exit when the reason for entry is violated, small losses, large gains, not for motivation, for calibration. These words weren't about feeling good, they were about thinking clearly. Schwager, in The New Market Wizards, noticed the same thing across all elite traders. Each had a set of internal commands they repeated over and over until they became reflex. I focus on risk first. Bruce Kovner, discipline is more important than conviction. Michael Marcus, the market will be there tomorrow. See the pattern? These aren't quotes for Instagram. They're neurological switches, each phrase crafted to activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for reason, strategy, control. And most importantly, they shut down emotional interference. Tom Baldwin, one of the most successful bond traders in history, used to talk to himself in the trading pit. Literally. Stay calm. Work the order. Don't chase. Other traders thought he was crazy until they saw his P&L. But why does this work? Mark Douglas explains it best. Words act as a bridge between your higher level understanding and your in-the-moment behavior. Because in the heat of the moment, you don't default to what you know. You default to what you've trained. Let me say that again. You don't rise to the level of your intentions. You fall to the level of your repetitions. So if the words you've practiced are, I hope this works, or please let me win, you're already behind. But if you've trained phrases like first, reward second, execute the plan, ignore the noise, system online, ego offline, then those become your autopilot commands, your anchor phrases. So how do you build them? Let me give you a framework, the exact language categories used by elite traders to anchor their minds throughout the trading cycle. 1. Start your day not with the news, but with intention. System online, ego offline. I trade probabilities, not prophecies. Process over profit. These aren't feel-good mantras. They're operational code. They tell your brain what game you're playing. FRUDS 2, pre-trade anchor phrases. Before every entry, run a check. Is this my edge speaking or my emotion? Risk first, reward second. Is this a setup or a story? These questions pierce through noise. They force clarity. They stop you from trading on narrative and keep you grounded in data. 3. Loss response phrases. After a red trade, the spiral usually begins with the wrong words, so replace them with data received, adjusting model, price paid for information, system performed as designed. These shift your brain from judgment to learning, from identity to analysis. 4. Win response phrases. Ironically, this might be more important than how you handle losses. Most traders lose their edge after they win, so train phrases like system executed correctly, edge expressed as expected, compound and continue. These phrases prevent ego inflation and lock in humility and process focus. Now, here's the neuroscience. These phrases do more than sound good. They restructure your brain. When you say them consistently, they strengthen neural pathways between your prefrontal cortex, logic, planning, control, and your motor cortex, action. They turn decision-making into pattern recognition, and pattern recognition into performance. That's how elite traders operate. They're not sitting there paralyzed, overthinking, emotionally spiraling. They've rehearsed their phrases so deeply that they can act without hesitation and without emotional interference. And this only works if you say the exact same phrases every time. Why? Because repetition builds automation, and automation creates safety under pressure. Think about Navy SEALs. They train for chaos with the exact same language over and over. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Shoot, move, communicate, cover, breathe, execute. Why? Because when bullets are flying, you don't think, you react. And if your reaction is trained, you live. If it's not, you die. Trading is no different. Only the bullets are numbers, and the battlefield is your mind. So here's your mission. Create your anchor arsenal, your personal trading phrases. Keep it to 3 maximum to start. Here's an example. Calm protocol when in drawdown. Red is data, breathe, assess, execute. FOMO killer after missed move. Good trades come to patient traders. Revenge blocker after loss. System first, ego never. Next setup. Then install them. Write each phrase 50 times by hand. Say them out loud every morning. Record yourself and listen on repeat. Use them before every trade, every single one. Do this for 30 days and you'll notice something strange. You'll hesitate less, panic less, break your rules less. Not because you became more disciplined overnight, but because you gave your brain better commands. The market isn't personal. It doesn't reward emotion. It rewards clarity. And clarity starts with language. Final thought. If toxic words can cost you thousands, then powerful words can make you millions. Choose them, train them, repeat them. Because eventually those words don't just guide your trades, they reshape your identity from impulsive to intentional, from scattered to surgical, from hopeful to professional. That's the hidden language of the 5% who win. And in the next chapter, we're going to talk about something even more dangerous. Not the words in your head, but the ones in your community. Because sometimes the voices around you are the most toxic of all. You've done the hard work. You've survived the losses. You've cut out the virus words, installed anchor phrases, followed your plan. And now it happens. You win. Not just a little win, a big one, a breakout week, a green month, maybe your first 5-figure gain. You feel it. The rush, the dopamine, the validation. I figured it out. I'm finally getting good. Maybe I'm one of the few. And in that moment, as your confidence swells and the market finally seems to respect you, you unknowingly walk into the most dangerous psychological trap in trading. The winner's curse. Because no one warns you about what success does to your mind. They tell you how to survive failure, but they don't tell you how success quietly rewires your brain against you. Let me explain. Neuroscience shows that windfall gains trigger massive spikes of dopamine, the same neurochemical released during gambling wins, drug highs, and addictive behaviors. Dopamine isn't just a reward, it's a teacher. It teaches your brain, whatever you just did, do more of that, even if it was luck, even if it was reckless, even if it violated every rule in your playbook. And here's the twist. When you start to win, your language shifts. Not because you choose to, but because your identity is subtly mutating. Let me show you what that sounds like. Before the win, setup matched my criteria. Risk managed, trade executed. After the win, I nailed it. I'm on fire. I can't lose. I am the market. And there it is, the curse. The moment your language shifts from process-based to ego-based, your downfall begins. Don't believe me? Let's look at the wreckage. Nick Leeson, the man who single-handedly destroyed Barings Bank with $0.3 billion in hidden losses, documented his thinking in his own words. Month 1, small loss, no problem. Month 3, I can make this back. Month 6, I know where it's going. Month 9, I am the market. Then came the collapse. Or take Marty Schwartz, legendary trader and author of Pitbull. In his worst trading period ever, he realized it wasn't his system that changed. It was his self-talk. I stopped saying the setup worked and started saying I nailed it. That's when I began losing. Because ego personalizes success. And the moment you believe your wins are proof of superiority, you stop respecting the market. You start forcing trades. You size up too quickly. You ignore stops. You stop managing risk because you believe you're above it. That's the winner's curse. The belief that success means invincibility. Paul Tudor Jones, one of the greatest traders in history, won big in the 1987 crash. His reaction? I got lucky with the timing. Not, I'm a genius. Not, I saw it coming. Just humility. Or Jim Rogers, after massive currency profits. The market did what I thought it might. Not, I dominated. That's the difference. The language of humble mastery versus the language of inflated ego. Because here's what's really happening. After a winning streak, your brain starts to rewrite history. You forget how uncertain the trade was, you forget how close you were to bailing, you forget how random the outcome may have been. Instead, you remember only success and your role in it. And you think, I've leveled up. I'm different now. This next one, let's size up. That's when it happens. You trade too big, you ignore your process, you lose more than you should, and suddenly you're back at square one or worse, because losing money hurts. But losing after thinking you were done losing, that's psychological whiplash. So let's make this real. Think about your best trading week ever. What did you say to yourself afterward? Did you journal with process language? Setup played out, system performed as designed, risk reward aligned. Or did ego creep in? I crushed it. Let's do that again, but bigger. This is easy now. Here's a test. If you can't remember your losing trades as clearly as your wins, the winner's curse is already inside your system. So, what do we do about it? We build immunity. Just like we did with fear and failure, we guard our language even when we're winning. Here's how. Success virus phrases to delete immediately. I'm a genius. Can't lose. I don't need to stop. This is house money. God mode. Built different. Destiny. Always right. Lambo's next. It's easy now. These phrases don't just sound arrogant, they signal that you've left the realm of logic and entered the world of self deception. Remember, house money is still real money, and the market doesn't care who you think you are. Replace with power phrases for humble mastery, system executed next setup. One win doesn't change the game. Stay small, stay sharp, risk first always. Edge, not ego. And most importantly, success is rented. Rent is due every day. Let that phrase tattoo itself into your mind because success is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of your next vulnerability. You're never more at risk of destruction than right after you've convinced yourself you've won. That's the paradox of trading. Failure humbles you, but success blinds you. So stay sharp, stay grounded, stay grounded. Celebrate wins quietly and reflect even louder because ego won't just cost you money, it'll cost you clarity. And clarity is your only real edge in a market built on uncertainty. You've cleaned your mental vocabulary. You've installed anchor phrases. You've survived the winner's curse. But there's one threat most traders still underestimate. It's not the market. It's not your emotions. It's your environment. Let me explain. You might be thinking clearly, but if your trading community is speaking in memes, hype, and gambler's logic, your mindset will slowly begin to rot because language is contagious. And the wrong words, even when they don't start in your head, will still take root there. This is the herd virus, and it spreads faster than any drawdown. Let's go back to 2021. GameStop, meme stock mania. It was a historic moment, not because of fundamentals, but because of language. On one side, you had experienced traders in professional communities saying things like, elevated volatility creates opportunity, size accordingly, take profits into strength. But on Reddit, Discord, and Twitter, diamond hands. Apes together strong, to the moon, hodl no matter what. The words told the whole story. One side was managing risk, the other was inflating fantasies. And here's the punchline. You could predict performance just by observing language. The more hype speak someone used, the more likely they were to blow up. Not because they were stupid, but because they got swept into a collective narrative. And narratives are stronger than logic, especially when you're not the one writing them. I mentored a trader during that time. Let's call him Mark. Week 1, he's sharp. Low float breakout, managing risk tight. Week 2, he's curious. What's going on with GME might be worth studying. Week 3, I like the stock. Week 4, I'm all in. Apes don't sell. He lost 80% of his account by the end of that month. And afterward, he told me something I'll never forget. It felt like I was hypnotized. Like the language in that Discord became my thoughts. That's how the herd virus works. You don't even realize it's happening. You log in to check the chat, and you walk out with your brain reprogrammed. This isn't new. It happened in the dot-com bubble. It happened in the crypto boom. It'll happen again. Because humans are tribal. We crave belonging. And we naturally copy the language of the group we want to fit into. But in trading, that can be fatal because when the crowd loses touch with reality and you follow their language, you lose touch too. And when that happens, your anchor phrases get drowned out. Your edge gets diluted. Your rules stop mattering because the group becomes your new system. Let's look at the most dangerous herd phrases. Diamond hands glorifies holding through pain. Paper hands shames proper risk management. To the moon promotes fantasy targets. Apes together strong replaces analysis with groupthink. Buy the dip encourages blind entries. They're manipulating it, creates victim mentality. Short squeeze incoming fuels hopium. These phrases sound harmless. They're even kind of funny, but they program behaviors that are completely incompatible with sustainable trading. They reward stubbornness. They shame discipline. They normalize recklessness. And worst of all, they feel good. It feels good to chant with the crowd, to belong, to be part of something bigger. But in trading, the second you need emotional validation from others, you've already lost your edge. So what's the solution? You don't need to isolate yourself in a cave, but you do need to build a firewall. 7 steps to herd immunity in trading. 1. Audit your environment. Open your Discord, Telegram, Twitter feed. What's the dominant language? Hype or logic, probabilities or slogans. 2. Mute during market hours. You don't need noise when it's time to execute. You need clarity. 3. Never trade someone else's idea without your own analysis. If you can't explain the setup in your own words, don't touch it. 4. Create a toxic phrase blocker. Whenever you see a phrase like diamond hands or YOLO, pause. Step away. 5. Surround yourself with traders who speak in systems. Look for phrases like position sizing, volatility filter, probability skew. These aren't just smarter, they're safer. 6. Leave communities that celebrate losses. Pain should never be normalized. It should be studied, learned from, and avoided, not memed. 7. Filter your feed ruthlessly. You become the average of the 5 traders you listen to most. Make sure they sound like pros, not gamblers. The truth is, there's no neutral environment in trading. Every chat room, every message board, every social feed is either improving your mental edge or infecting it. And you won't even notice until it's too late, until you start using their words, trading their setups, feeling their emotions, and blowing up just like they did. So here's your firewall phrase. I don't trade community energy, I trade edge. Say it, repeat it, write it down, because when the crowd is screaming, let's goo, you need to whisper to yourself, stick to the system. When they shout to the moon, you need to remind yourself, profit target hit, exit. When they say diamond hands, you say risk managed, trade closed. You are not here to chant, you're here to execute. Final word. In the end, trading is a lonely game, and that's a good thing, because clarity doesn't come from noise, it comes from silence, from process, from your own words, not theirs. So guard your vocabulary, but also guard your circle, because your future doesn't just depend on how you trade, it depends on who you listen to. Let's be honest. Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. You've seen the virus words, you've installed the anchor phrases, you've survived emotional chaos, community contagion, and the seductive high of winning. But if you stop here, nothing changes. Why? Because your brain isn't wired by what you understand. It's wired by what you repeat. This is where most traders fail, not in what they know, but in what they install. So let me say it clearly. The brain you enter the market with is only as good as the software you've installed into it. That's why this chapter exists. This is your protocol, your operating system upgrade, your blueprint for neuroplastic transformation in 30 days. Because what separates the 95% who stay stuck from the 5% who evolve isn't intelligence, it's installation. Let's talk science. Dr. Brett Steenbarger, in Enhancing Trader Performance, studied hundreds of traders implementing psychological tools. He found a consistent pattern: days 1 to 7, conscious effort, frequent forgetting, resistance. Days 8-14, increased awareness, pattern recognition. Days 15 to 21, emotional responses shrink, new habits take root. Days 22 to 30, behavior becomes near automatic, performance stabilizes. It's not magic, it's neuroplasticity, and it requires structured repetition. You can't sort of change your mindset. You have to train it like muscle memory. So here's the exact protocol. Week 1, awareness phase. Goal, catch the old operating system in real time. Morning, 10 minutes. Write your 3 anchor phrases, tens by hand. Say them aloud in the mirror with full focus. Visualize yourself using them during actual trades. During trading, before every trade, pause. Ask, what words am I thinking? Replace any toxic or words immediately. Use silence after major wins or losses, even 2 minutes. Evening, 5 minutes. Review your journal. Count how many virus words you use, replacements for each. Celebrate each correction. Yes, celebrate. Week 2, replacement phase. Goal, override and replace bad code. Morning, 15 minutes. Write your anchor phrases 20x. Record yourself saying them. Listen during commute, workout, or prep. Visualize high-stress trades and your calm, phrase-driven response. During trading, use pre-trade anchor phrase before every execution. Use a 5-minute silence protocol after major trades. Apply the alchemist protocol. Loss equals data purchased. Win equals system executed. Confusion, pattern forming. Missed trade equals patience confirmed. Evening 10 minutes, rewrite your day using power language only. Plan tomorrow's language goals. Read your anchor phrases before bed. Week 3, integration phase. Goal, transition from effort to instinct. Morning, 10 minutes, say your phrases aloud while walking, pacing, or moving. Activate the body with the mind. Set intention. Today, my language drives my execution. During trading, begin noticing automatic corrections. Help others in your community correct their language. Teaching reinforces learning. Journal observations like caught myself about to say hope replaced with probability favors. Evening 5 minutes. Reflect on where you noticed instinct kick in. Note emotional recovery time. It should be faster. Prepare for potential ego sneak attacks if you're winning. Week 4, lock-in phase. Goal. Cement your identity as a language-driven, process-based trader. Morning, 5 minutes. Quick phrase reinforcement. Add one identity affirmation, e.g., I'm a trader who follows process, not emotion. My execution reflects my language. During trading, phrases flow naturally. When ego flares, anchor phrases kick in. When fear appears, logic prevails. You begin noticing your old OS and rejecting it. Evening, review the week. Journal key wins and corrections. Create a maintenance protocol. What's your phrase routine going forward? What phrase saved your week? What phrase almost wrecked it? Critical success factors. Never skip a day. Momentum, perfection. Write by hand. Activates motor memory. Say it out loud. Auditory processing, stronger neural encoding. Do it early. Morning routines, peak state. Review nightly. That's when integration happens. Visualize under pressure. Train for chaos during calm. Teach one other person. Installs deeper into your identity. By day 30, something incredible happens. You no longer fight your emotions. You no longer try to stay disciplined. You simply are. You see the setup, anchor phrase kicks in, trade happens. No hesitation, no spiral. Just clarity. You've gone from knowledge to embodiment. You've installed the new OS. Here's what you'll start to notice. Your language has changed, even outside of trading. Your confidence no longer comes from wins, it comes from alignment. Toxic thoughts feel foreign, not familiar. You feel calmer, not just during trades, but after them. You're no longer chasing the market, you're flowing with it. Let me leave you with this. Your edge isn't just in your charts, it's in your language, your rituals, your repetition. Because you can have the best strategy in the world, but if your inner software is corrupted, you'll sabotage it every time. So ask yourself, are you willing to commit 20 minutes a day for 30 days to permanently transform your trading psychology? That's the difference between another blown account and your breakthrough year. The choice isn't glamorous, it isn't sexy, but it is transformational. You now have the system. You now have the tools. All that's left is to install it. You've done the work. You've uprooted the virus words. You've installed anchor phrases. You've endured the rewiring. You've stayed disciplined when it wasn't easy. And slowly, your brain changed. But now something else begins to happen. Something strange. Something you can't quite explain. You find yourself executing trades without thinking. The setup appears. Your fingers move. You're in the trade, but there was no dialogue, no second guessing, no internal debate. It just happened. Clean, precise, effortless. What is that? That is the ultimate trading state, the state beyond words, the state where mastery becomes muscle, where action flows without thought. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's the final stage of neural installation. In neuroscience, this is called unconscious competence, the fourth and final stage of skill acquisition. Let's break it down. Unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you're doing. You can't even see your mistakes. Conscious incompetence. You begin to notice your flaws. You try to change. You improve, but it takes effort. Discipline feels like work. Unconscious competence. You execute with zero friction. Success becomes automatic. That's where you are now, or at least where you're headed. And here's the paradox: all the work with words, the journaling, the repetition, the anchor phrases, they were never the destination. They were the ladder. But now it's time to throw away the ladder. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Richard Dennis, the legendary trader who created the turtle traders, started his career full of rules, checklists, and logic. But after years of experience, he said, eventually, you just feel the rhythm of the market. It stops being analysis and becomes instinct. After 10,000 hours, the patterns speak to you. No internal dialogue needed. The goal is to reach a place where right action happens through you, not by you. This is not recklessness. It's not gut trading. It's wordless pattern recognition, like a seasoned pianist who no longer reads the notes, or a fighter pilot who reacts before the thought arrives. You're not trying to make something happen. You're letting the system express itself through you. In Japanese martial arts, there's a word for this: mushin, no mind. Not empty, not blank, but so deeply trained that no conscious effort is required. No noise, no chatter, only action. In trading, this is the peak. This is flow state, where time bends, noise fades, fear vanishes, and your edge flows through your fingers like second nature. But here's the catch: you can't skip to this level. You can't fake it. You can't visualize your way in. You have to earn it with reps, discipline, and language first. Mushin only arrives after you've burned through thousands of mistakes, rewired your inner voice, and installed a new internal operating system. You must speak the words until you no longer need them. So, how do you know you're getting close? You no longer narrate your entries or exits, you just execute. You feel emotionally neutral during both wins and losses. You forget the trades because they don't feel dramatic. You're no longer impressed by your good days. You don't fear your bad days. You're not trying to trade well. You simply are. The charts don't look scary anymore. They look like data, and you're not trying to predict them. You're just listening. The market doesn't speak in words. It speaks in rhythm. And rhythm doesn't need to be translated, only felt. When your system is aligned with that rhythm, you don't have to force anything. You don't chase. You don't hope. You don't revenge trade. You flow. You're not reacting. You're expressing. Like a martial artist in combat. No panic, just breath, just movement, just presence. Now, you might be wondering, do I just stop using words now? Throw away the anchor phrases? Ditch the protocol? No. The anchor phrases don't disappear. They fade into the background. They become the foundation beneath your actions, like the scaffolding around a building. Once the structure is solid, the scaffolding comes down. You won't need to say risk first. You'll simply always manage risk. You won't need to remind yourself system over emotion, because emotion won't even get in the room. You're not trying to control yourself anymore. You're simply expressing your edge without friction. So here's the truth: the ultimate trading state isn't loud, it isn't flashy, it isn't euphoric. It's quiet, deeply calm, fully focused, wordless, but wise. That's how you know you've arrived. And yet, there's one final challenge, because while you may have silenced the chaos inside, there's still one last threat lurking, not in your words, not in your wins, not even in your emotions, but in the people you surround yourself with, your community, the digital voices you absorb, the herd language that still whispers in your feed. And that's where we're going next, because you've done the internal work, but now it's time to protect your edge from the outside world. You've done the internal work. You've rewired your thoughts, you've trained your phrases, you've reached moments of pure wordless execution, but there's still one virus left, one final trap, and it's the most subtle of all, because it doesn't start inside your head. It starts inside theirs, the herd, the tribe, the timeline, the chat room, the algorithm-driven echo chamber you scroll through every day. You may think you've outgrown it, that your edge protects you, but this virus is stealthy. It wears the face of friendship, community, shared struggle, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Herd behavior, the oldest virus in the book. There's a term in behavioral finance, herd behavior. It refers to the instinct, hardwired in all of us, to follow the crowd, especially in uncertain environments. It's survival code. And in nature, it works. But in trading, it will gut your edge before you even realize you've lost it. Because the crowd doesn't speak in probabilities. The crowd speaks in hype, in certainty, in slogans. And if you don't filter it, you will absorb it. Language is contagious, and every feed you follow is either strengthening your discipline or infecting it. Share how the virus spreads, real world case study. Let me show you how this virus works in the wild. Meme stocks. GameStop, AMC, the rise of Reddit traders. At first, it looked like a revolution, retail versus institutions, David versus Goliath. But beneath the surface, it was something else entirely. A linguistic cult, diamond hands, apes together strong, to the moon, never sell, hodl till death. It felt good, it felt brave, it felt like unity. But it was mass hypnosis, and like all collective delusions, it ended in destruction. Thousands of accounts blown, millions in losses. Traders who once had rules now had only slogans. That's the community mind virus. Have you been infected? Ask yourself this. Have you ever hesitated to take a proper stop loss because of what other traders might say? Have you ever held a position too long because the Discord chat was still bullish? Have you ever ignored your system because of a tweet? Then guess what? You've been infected. The language shift. From disciplined to doomed, I've seen it happen in real time. A disciplined trader joins a Telegram group. At first, he stays cautious, shares setups, talks risk. Then the group starts spiking gains. I just flipped 2 into 20K in 1 week. Only paper hands are selling here. This one's going parabolic. Suddenly his language changes. From risk reward 201, I'll size accordingly, to full send, let's ride. His account doesn't stand a chance. The 8 most toxic phrases in herd communities. These are the red flags, the language of the virus. 1, diamond hands, glorifies ignoring your plan. 2, to the moon, builds fantasy expectations. 3, apes together strong, punishes independent thinking. 4, paper hands, shames proper exits. 5, buy the dip, promotes blind entries. 6, short squeeze incoming, ignites hopium. 7, they're manipulating it, triggers victim mindset. 8, YOLO, converts traders into gamblers. If these dominate your feed, you're not in a trading group, you're in a casino. Now contrast that with elite trading language. What's your position sizing? How do you define your edge here? Where's your invalidation level? Are you trading your system or your emotion? Did you journal the outcome? That's not hype. That's process. That's not herd behavior. That's professionalism. The Community Immunity Protocol. 1. Audit your language environment. Go through your Discords, Telegrams, YouTube subs, Twitter follows. Ask, does this content sharpen my discipline or seduce my ego? 2. Mute during market hours. Execution is sacred. Noise is poison. 3. Never take a trade you didn't validate, no matter how confident someone sounds. If you can't explain it in your own words, you don't own it. 4. Create a toxic language filter. Track every hype phrase you hear. Write it down. Build immunity through awareness. 5. Find one real mentor or peer, someone who speaks your language. Edge, process, psychology. 6. Leave groups that normalize failure or mock discipline. Misery loves company, but company won't save your account. 7. Replace memes with metrics. Forget apes together. Ask, what's my edge? What's my max drawdown? What's the trade plan? The ultimate truth. You become the average of the 5 traders you listen to most. So choose carefully. You've done the work to master your internal world. Don't let the external world infect it. You can't mute the entire internet, but you can curate your inputs. And your inputs, they shape your outputs, your vocabulary, your clarity, your edge, right? Final question. Are you building your own mental edge or borrowing the crowd's? Because in the end, your results won't reflect your community's beliefs. They'll reflect your own behavior. You've come a long way. You've purged the virus words, installed anchor phrases, fought the ego, silenced the herd, rewired your brain one phrase at a time, and now you stand at the edge of something bigger, not just trading better, not just thinking clearer, but something far more powerful. The ability to turn anything, wins, losses, fear, chaos, uncertainty, into growth. That's not talent. That's not luck. That is alchemy. What is alchemy? Really? In ancient times, alchemists believed they could turn base metals into gold, lead into value, chaos into order, the worthless into the priceless. Most failed, but a few understood the real meaning. The greatest transformation isn't outside you, it's inside. And that's where this protocol begins, because the truth is, every trader has pain. Every trader has setbacks. Every trader has moments they'd rather forget. But the elite, they don't forget, they repurpose. Losses become lessons, wins become blueprints, mistakes become mirrors, even boredom becomes a signal. The alchemist protocol. The difference between failure and mastery isn't avoidance, it's conversion. Step 1. Reframe the event. No matter what happens, loss, FOMO, missed entry, ask, how does this serve my edge? Not spiritual fluff, this is pattern extraction. Bad entry, you found a hole in your trigger discipline. Chased a breakout, there's an emotion still untrained. Ignored a setup, doubt is still hiding somewhere. Nothing is random if you extract the meaning. Step 2. Extract the language behind every trading mistake is a broken sentence. I thought it would bounce. I didn't want to miss out. I deserved this win. I'm due for a green day. These aren't just thoughts, they're code. Now rewrite them. Bounce, low probability reversal. Deserved, risk calibrated entry. Due, each trade is independent. Every toxic result begins as toxic language. Fix the phrase, fix the behavior. Step 3. Build a microsystem from the pain. Don't just journal the mistake, systematize the lesson. Blown stop? Write a rule for stop discipline. Chased breakout? Build a valid breakout checklist. Premature exit? Create a patience trigger rule. If you repeat the mistake, it's not the market's fault. It's because you didn't engineer a safeguard. Step 4, embed the upgrade. You've reframed it, you've rewritten it, you've systematized it. Now you install it. Write the new phrase 10x. Say it aloud before bed. Visualize the failure and overwrite it with the new response. Burn it in. Let it replace the old reflex. Step 5, let it go. Here's the twist. You don't cling to the lesson. You don't obsess over the error. You extract, you upgrade, you install, and then you move on. The mind of a pro isn't filled with pain. It's shaped by the lesson that pain left behind. You trade, you reflect, you refine, and you let go. From trader to alchemist, this is the alchemist protocol. Run it long enough and something changes. You become rare, not just a disciplined trader, not just a profitable one, a regenerative trader, one who grows from anything. Bad fills, market chop, distractions, drawdowns, even success. Nothing is wasted. Everything becomes edge. One phrase that changes everything. I don't fear mistakes, I convert them. Say it again. I don't fear mistakes, I convert them. Not a quote, a weapon. Because when you stop fearing loss and start transmuting it, you become unstoppable. Who you were versus who you are now before. Reactive, random, emotional. Now, structured, silent, adaptive. Before, trading with noise. Now, trading with rhythm. Before, external hype. Now, internal clarity. Before, mistakes broke you. Now, mistakes build you. Final thought. The market will never get easier. The charts will never be kinder. The world will always shout. But your mind, your process, your language, that's where the real edge lives. You've built it, you've installed it, you've earned it. Now, protect it, because no one else will. This is the end of the journey, but the beginning of your transformation. You are now the system. You are now the edge. You are now the alchemist. And the market? It's just the mirror. Trade well. Trade consciously. Trade like it's your final evolution, because maybe it is. So now you know, it was never about predicting the market. It was about mastering the one thing that actually matters, yourself. The words you speak, the thoughts you allow, the identity you reinforce, trade by trade, moment by moment. Because in the end, trading isn't a game of charts. It's a game of clarity, control, and conscious repetition. So if this hit you, if something inside you shifted, then this is your signal. Don't just watch this video. Install it. Rewatch the chapter that hit you hardest. Write down the phrases that rewired you. And if you're ready to take it even deeper, Subscribe because this channel is not about hype, it's about transformation. And if you want the edge that lasts a lifetime, you've just found your home. Until next time, trade consciously. And remember, you are the system.